hello, everybody want, well, the dream about spring and winds of a winter. Everybody, I think. I want it very much. But George Martin doesn't write his books. Why is it so? Why does he write almost everything? I mean, history of his world, this prehistorian of his Song of Ice and Fire, this Dance with the Dragon, this tale about Duncan and Egg. But why doesn't he write the thing that everybody want? Why? I have some explanation for you, and then I give my own opinion, okay? So, what is the problem? Well, maybe, the first explanation, it is because, I remember the final season of Game of Thrones. And you see, there was a lot of hate to Benioff and Weiss. Like, they did everything wrong, they ruined the show, they disappointed all of us, they just didn't listen to George Martin. And maybe George Martin think that we will not be pleased with the final in any case. We will hate any final of the series, and he doesn't know what do we want. So he is sitting and he is thinking, what should I do? And maybe he has his books, but he is not going to publish them until he will pass. So we will have these books after he will pass. It is the first explanation. He doesn't want all that hate that get Benioff and Weiss. The second explanation, George Martin always says that he is, a gardener. That he has a garden and he has a lot of plot lines and they are growing, and he cannot control all of them. He doesn't know where are they going to grow. And they are so complicated, all of his books, that he just doesn't know how to handle all of them. And you see, in the first book we have Arya, Sansa, Eddard Stark, and Catelyn Stark, Tyrion Lannister, Jon Snow, and that's all. In the last book we have a lot of characters, a lot. And in the last two books we will have, maybe 50 POV. So it is too much for him. He cannot handle all of this, all of that plot lines and hooks and connections. So it is so complicated that I don't know. So this is the next explanation. I am writing a book myself, and I cannot to connect 3 or 4 that plot lines together. But he has hundreds of plot lines, and it's too difficult. So they are too big for him. The next explanation, he has lost control over his books. It's not the same like previous one, in previous he just, in previous, well, in previous, well, in the second theory, I said that just it is two big books, but here, well, he just, well, lost control. I mean that, well, these series, they are, well, he had a 5 years gap. So, 5 years gap between, well, like these were children in the first books, but now they are grown up. So, if they, so there, so we needed 5 years gap, but George Martin said that it will not work for Stannis Baratheon, for Cersei Lannister, for, well, Cersei Lannister or Cersei Baratheon, and for Daenerys Targaryen. Well, this Martin, he said that we don't have, so they cannot just sit there and 5 years and nothing, like nothing happened. It would be work for example, for such person like Rickon Stark. He would just growing up and going to age, but not Stannis Baratheon. He should, well, do something these 5 years. And there in Essos we have Meereen gap, Meereen city for George Martin, and he don't understand what to do with this Meereen gap. And you see, if well, we should have this 5 year gap. Now we have a lot of lines, and George Martin had some plot for a very big series, but for the finals, for the end. But now he understands that everything goes wrong because he lost structure of his books. And if you look at the last 2 books, we have not ending of the last book. We don't understand, well, what about these 2 cliffhangers? Well, what about this battle between Stannis and Roose Bolton, or his son, his bastard Bolton? So we don't know, and George Martin don't know what to do with all these plot lines. He lost his structure of the books, and he cannot work further. The next theory, well, we have final. We have final. It is, well, the final. It is, well, the ending of the series. So George Martin, so we saw it, yes, and George Martin is not interested in final, because we know it, because we know everything what will be happening. And George Martin, well, lost his interest to the final. So, for example, if I write a book and if you know the ending, so why should I write a book, well, further? I'm not interested in that book. I want something else. The next reason, well, George Martin is not poor anymore. He has got a lot of money. He has got a lot of popularity, and he doesn't have any motives to write further. Yet one reason, he's maybe, well, too old for that book. Well, if you are 70, it is too much. Well, it's very much. Well, when I am ill, I cannot work, and I can imagine what can feel George Martin if he is, well, in such age. So will we see the final? I don't think so. And It is sad, but anyway. Anyway, you can enjoy this series like you just should think about it like about the War of Five Kings. And that's all. And in this case, we have a very good final. Thank you for your attention. Bye bye.